Well, hello, creatives, community, and kind folks. Welcome to RPG with DBJ, and welcome to this Future Friday. Um, Today, we are going to show uh, a bit of a strange, but I don't know, I think kind of awesome small booklet style RPG, especially if you're someone into cyberpunk. But on the side here, we're going to have to do a little bit of a retrospective of sorts. Hey, JJax, and everybody else who comes to the show live. Thank you very much. You guys are the co-hosts of the show and make me actually look a lot smarter than I really am. So we're going to look at Cyborg here, and Cyborg is a small-ish styled zine, although it's a little quite a bit thicker than that. Tabletop role-playing game. But I'm going to have to introduce you first, if we can go back in a little bit of history, to the game that started it all, which is Mork Borg. Now, I understand that I am pronouncing it incorrectly. It's got the umlauts and all that kind of business, but in a tabletop community, it's been called Mork Borg. And there are two main things, maybe three things that really set this apart and why people are talking about it. First of all, it's the game system itself. So the game system itself is bare bones. It is OSR central. So if you open up the back cover, essentially all the rules are in the back cover. That's it. Like it is a bare bones, lethal OSR. You know, be ready to make up a brand new character when yours gets murked in the game. It's pretty cool, very lethal. Um, and basically, your equipment makes you. You don't have very many special abilities. It's just go out into this dangerous world. Now, this original game, Mork Borg, is the fantasy version of this, and it is like uh, uh, an apocalyptic dying world. And from the very first page, from the interior cover and on, it's just filled with random tables, all of them with pretty horrible bits and baubles of details in terms of the world setting. But the other thing that really sets this apart is the guys at Stockholm Cartel laid this book out and decided to break every single rule. There's probably, I don't know, 15 or 20 different fonts. The layout is strange. Sometimes you'll see artwork and pages and photographs and things taken and twisted and I mean this image right here. This is a world map, right? And it looks like it's made up of pasted together bits and pieces of black and white photographs with a layout over top of it, and it's an art piece. It's a little difficult to read sometimes because you're never really sure if are you reading a game stat or are you reading, like, is it just artwork in the background. Even this page right here is actually goes it actually is numbered from 8, 9, and 10, but your eye has to try to follow it and stuff. It's pretty strange. Even under hit points, there's an actual photograph of a of a heart with explaining what how do you calculate your hit points and stuff. It's pretty crazy. And every time you turn a page, you're never really certain what you're going to get on the next page. It's 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 really crazy. I mean, even trying to read this. But that being said, um, they do have a free bare bones version of this without any artwork that you can go to their website, Morkborg, and they even have supplements to it. And the supplements themselves are pretty awesome. There's a fold out map that's actually an adventure as well for one of these. This is this paperback uh, style booklet. The minute you open up the pages, there's like random tables and how to make monsters and all this other kind of stuff. And on their website, they've even at one point they opened up for people to try to like hack their system, which you can. There's an OGL and a little bit of an SRD for getting started with it, but even everything is always laid out for the front and the back. Even their adventure styles are Pretty cool. Yeah. Yes, yes, yes. There is a if you play the if you play this game at rules as written, there's a part where you're supposed to make choices by literally taking a knife and throwing it at it, and then when the world finally dies in apocalyptic horror, you're supposed to burn the book. I actually thought about actually buying one of these and burning it and putting it up on a and just putting it up on like a YouTube short or something. And I'm still not against it, but it's it's pretty hilarious and I love it. So that's the fantasy version. Uh, Deadman says the name of the game pronounces Merc Borg. Yeah, yes, yes. Thank you. I was like, but yeah, if you ever listen to any of the interviews that the people who designed the game, yeah, it's Merc Borg. Yeah. Um, Gaster, hey, what's going on, Gaster? I've heard a lot of good about this TTRBG. In fact, I was given a PDF to run a short campaign on, and it's incredibly well made. Yes, it is. Despite the Gonzo horrific layout of it, which let me just go back here. Which, despite that, they do have a ribbon so you can find out where you're going. And I'm a visual person, so they did, and being a visual individual, plus the fact that basically the base rules are on the inside cover, um, and they give you access to the free version. I don't think it's difficult to run. And being a visual person, a lot of times, I mean, this huge page layout for this monster here for a troll looks a whole lot different than the bells and the leech. And I don't know. For me visually, it's pretty easy to like find a page and go, yeah, this page and the font on it is a whole lot different than the page before it, right? Now, the hard part about like actually reading the game, like just using this for as an example, is that you you have to try to read what this is with font over top of it, and then you're like, well, what does this page mean? And actually down here in the bottom it says arcane catastrophes, and this is what it represents. And you're like, wait, so how do I read? Oh, wait a minute, there's something written on the side here, and it's there, and then and then you have catastrophes up in here, and then there's rules that go along the border of the page. It's really bizarre. It's really bizarre. And then even if you take a look at this page, your eyes aren't wrong. It's not just a list. Like some of it is typewritten where it's off to the side. Yeah. I gotta put this up there. Yeah, Mike's like, yeah, reading Mork Borg is like reading layers of city graffiti. Yeah, like once you get it, you get it. But you're never sure. You don't have a frame of reference, right? If all of this was in the same font, you would get the frame of reference. But every time you flip a page, your brain has to reset again, and it's pretty amazing. Like even this reading this, you're like, okay, so what? Actually, you read the pinkish letters as in bad habit, and then there's a list table here, and then you roll randomly for like a random bad habit that you have. But you're like, wait a minute, is the B does the B go with that word, or does it wait, what, AD gambling addict? No, it's bad habits, and then you just basically roll down on this list. But that's the medieval part. This is Future Friday. So now we have to bring ourselves to um yeah. Mike says Glass Cannon Network ran Mech already and intended to run a Cyborg. You know, an OSR game has hit a certain level when it's getting Pathfinder 2, Pathfinder Second Edition channel exposure. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Honestly, Mike's also continues to says, honestly, if it were written in standard fonts and size, it'd be all of 10 pages long. It really would. It really would, because there's things in here where, I mean, it's not word heavy at all, at all. But the one of the main things about Morkborg that really has again has set it aside is you have this calendar of it's basically an apocalyptic calendar. And so on this one page, it says, "When will all the agony end?" And it's a world ender. So the together, everyone decides what die roll you're going to use when your game ends. And which means that in the middle of an adventure, you wake up the next morning and you're dead, right? So, and if you roll a one, and you could pick D100, D20, 10, D6, D2, and if you roll a one, the world comes to an end. And this here, and this is one of the things that kind of smacks people in the face. The downfall of society takes place on just one page, and it's written like a biblical passage. And you roll D66 to even do it. So it's this very when this game says it's a spiked, you know, mailed fist to the face or something, it really is. So especially in this, so if you roll a 66, the first die is 1 through 6, and the second die is 1 through 6, like you would roll percentile dice, and it gives you a way the world will die. And then at um 7-7, which you cannot roll 7-7, but basically once you get six of these things happening, then the seventh happens, and then it gives you basically is a prediction of the end of the world, and so on and so forth. But when we come over here to Cy-Borg, they've learned a lot. So, for example, this is the original Mork Borg, and Cy-Borg next to it is probably a good, I would say, almost double the pages, if not an extra 30 to 40% page count, as well as the fact that as you take a look at this now for those who are into layout, and I'm talking to you, Mike, those who are into producing books and layout, you'll notice that not only is it the artwork, but you'll see like there is a glossy. They use a lot of matte against gloss in the making of these books, so there's like a glitchy techno fibrous material over top of the cover of the book, and so on and so forth. And this doesn't this game, they've already learned it. As a matter of fact, on the back of it, they even call this a Mork Borg hacked, which they've actually hacked their own system. Stockholm Cartel made it, Free League published it, and Free League must have some great um, um, offset printing because it's awesome. So again, interior of the book. So I'm going to start to flip through this and talk about this through the lens of cyberpunk. So Cy-Borg is a cyberpunk world, and unlike Shadowrun and even the classic uh, Cyberpunk 2020 role-playing games, this one is a lot. It comes across just because of the artwork. This individual's falling off of a tall bridge or something like that, caught in the midst, is a lot glitchier, dirtier, more desperate, and involves a lot more like infestations, techno horrors. It's a bit of a Lovecraftian experimental world inhabited by disease and even alien infestations or signals sent. So it's a lot. There's a lot more chaos in it, and this main setting, much like in Morkborg, this has a main setting called Psy. So Mike says there's a gloss laminate printed over a matte print, producing a unique texture. That's not a cheap process. No, and they've even gone so far, especially in the original Morkborg game, to take a completely blank page and use that printing process on it with literally no text on it. It's like, why did they waste their time? And it's like, well, they really didn't. So again, taking a look at the fonts, look how many. I mean, there's maybe a bold font and a regular font here, but then they stretched it out, and you'll see that a lot. Like there's like glitchy uh, words that are glitched out and pulled aside, and you'll see these text pointers to boxes of information, and even the artwork is very splatterpunk, so, which I love. This here is the 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 map of the world of Psy, and it looks like wait, how do you read this thing? It again, it's like a heads up display, glitchy, whatever. I mean, it's crazy. It is crazy. And then there's you got to have corporate labels. Again, the game system itself is very simple. It begins with a lot of the industry stuff. Even this, like, how simple is it to show a irradiated, poisoned landscape by basically taking all of the classic warning labels that we've ever seen ever in real life, modifying them and just layering them over one over top of each other. And it's like the industries, of course, they're dumping poison, and this is exactly how they did it. And then to top it all off, they picked like the sun going down, some kind of, I don't know, factory or something, and it's probably pumping crap up into the air, and you could see how it's just very, very well done. And again, not a lot of word count. Like Mike said, it's like a 10 page 10 pages maybe, but yeah. Of course, we've got our ribbons here. I didn't even separate them yet because I've got a blue and pink ribbon. Got the slums, talks about the water. It is a cyberpunk city with a lot of canals and water features in it, which is a little bit different. Of course, you have to have the rich and famous. Um, another part of this is that, um, and this is a theme throughout the Mork Borg and Mork Borg aside games, is this has a countdown timer as well. And what's really interesting about the end of the world countdown timer system is that it is a in-world meta mechanic, out of game meta mechanic that basically forces you to go, you know what? Your character probably has a limited lifespan, but so does the world. So you need to get going. And you talk about eliminating analysis paralyses. It is pretty cool. Now, this is the miserable headlines. It's a little difficult to read this, but once you get it, you're like, oh, okay. And instead of having a religious prediction with a biblical style of the end of the world. Instead, this has miserable headlines. And again, you decide whether you want percentile die all the way down to D4. And it talks about like when will the horrors of the world come about? And on the seventh time, a miserable headline is rolled, it will always be um, aught dot aught, which is basically 777. And each of these miserable headlines is the downfall of the world. And as the PCs start to go around, you just, something comes up. Like, for example, if you since you're rolling D66 on a 1-4, anti-human bioterror attack. The body count climbs after the bio bombings of several passenger cars earlier tonight. All metro, monorail, and tram cars are closed while major set corps compete to hunt down the 666 world terrorist cell that claims credit for the act. And so these things start happening, and then it changes the world setting. And it's a really cool thing that keeps going on and on, from eco terrorism to tsunamis, cyborgs win, a Borg hold prison break. It's nasty. And then to give something away is, are we living in a simulation? Maybe we are. Now, unlike the original Mork Borg, which tells you like, oh, by the way, when you finish playing the game, burn the book. This one says Reactor Magnificus, Professor Dr. Duru Everin at Sci-U has found proof that the world is a simulation run by unknown entities. Everin could not be reached for further comment. In 12 hours, the simulation resets. Replay the entire campaign. That's hilarious. I know it's pretty a little shiny there, but yeah, it's hilarious. You're like, no, we're just going to reset the world and do it all over again. Now, this is up to you guys. I think this is a pretty hilarious joke. Let's see if I can hold it up so that you can see it without getting too much of a glare. Now let's turn this light down. Let's see. Nah, it's a little too hard to do it. All right. So I'm trying to have enough lights to get rid of a to get let my hand not create a shadow, but the book is such high quality that the gloss on it is picking up a lot of things. So let's see if the there we go. All right. So it says at the first page of learning about the system, it says you are encouraged to break every single rule in this book except this one. And rule 00, it says player characters cannot be loyal to or have sympathy for the corpse, the cops, or the capitalist system. They might find themselves reluctantly forced to do missions for them or their minions, but make no mistake, they are the enemy. So I kind of take this a little bit as a joke in the sense that I think you're supposed to take it serious. But the first line says you are encouraged to break every single rule in this book except this one, is to kind of say maybe you should be breaking this rule too. So, while you could take it literally, I think there's a little bit of an insight, like, you're supposed to break the rules. So it does give you rules for how to make a character, and it walks you through it. It talks about rolling d6s and what you have. It's a little bit difficult to read this on the even while I'm broadcasting it because it's like a blue page with this like fuchsia writing, but then you have cash and gear, and you can make your punk and optional hacks. Or they do have character classes, and in Mork Borg they do have. They're more like archetypes. Alley-oops is like too shiny. You need to put on shades for this. I've got 3 ring lights going on. I've got a light on my right up here where my finger is on the camera, and then I've got a ring light to my left and right. So they're to try to get rid of the shadows, but the pages are so thick and shiny. Any other normal role playing game is not gonna cast a cast a reflect like that. But yeah, and then there's even some like this. This looks like pretty normal font, right? It seems pretty normal, but then you get up to the this upper left page, and it's like, did they accidentally put this yellow square and brick it over what I'm supposed to be able to read? Because I can't read all of it. And then you come down here, and it starts to get tinier and tinier. It's crazy. This book is crazy. So what I from here, and these are kind of cool. These are character archetypes. I wouldn't call them necessarily classes. Essentially, it gives you a focus of what kind of character you are. So it does give you like you have a unique ability. It gives you a little bit of a role playing prompt and alters your like starting gear and armor and weaponry and that kind of thing. So this is a shunned nanomancer, and it gives you some options here. These are optional classes, and even up in the very top corner, it gives you optional classes, and there's a D6 because if you're in the OSR and you really love like the roll 3d6 down the line and that kind of thing, you might want to roll for a random character type. So you roll D6, and this is page number. This is character option number 1, and this is the burned hacker. Once, like I said, once you get it, once you get it, you'll understand. Um, and then the burned hacker, some details, apps. So they use the term apps for like the programs that you have. Makes perfect sense. Discharge corp killer. The orphaned gearhead. Again, like I said, when you go from page to page, your brain has to readjust to some of the fonts and the colors and things of that nature. I think this is called a renegade cyber slasher. Mm, 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 mm. Down here, your trench coat hides most of your roll D, and then there's a D6. A filament Zweihander that makes everyone around you nervous. Crits hit with such a force that your target is thrown up in the air, making them an easy target. -2 DR for anyone else. Kind of weird, but awesome, right? And then Forsaken. Gangoon and style. I'm gonna hide this for just now. And then there's a ton of random tables. And the random tables just feel like they're like shoved into the font of here. So there's optional PC and NPC tables. You can roll some features and style. And even in and it's so minimalist in the OSR style, in the OSR, not just layout, but the way the game system comes together, that it doesn't even the descriptions don't describe the thing that you're trying to describe because it's for you and your creativity. So if you were to make, for example, if you were to roll on this and your style for your PC is cadaver core, well, what does that mean? Right? What does cadaver core look like? Is it a leather jacket that looks like it's made out of like strips of meat? Is it painting having your body tattooed so you look like your face looks like a skeleton or something? I don't know what that is. Um, Pyro core, razor mouth, riot kid. Like, what is all that? You have to make it up yourself. And there's other features. There's also like wants, quirks, your current obsession. A lot of these features are optional. These are optional tables for player characters. But listen, this is just like the original Mork Borg, Cy-Borg. Your PC's probably not going to live long, so you might as well like what is it? Play your character like you stole it, right? Just just run your character in the ground, get all kinds of the worst quirks, attitudes, missing fingers, there's still a knife sticking out of your eye, all this kind of yeah, just go for it. It also talks about weaponry and such, and again, it gives you little bits and pieces of information on it, kinds of damage, and they even have like you'll see that the layout will break away, but it's actually telling you a game statistic. So under assault rifle, for number 9, if you roll a 9, the 10th one is with a grenade launcher, but then you see like it bumps up, so you might get an assault rifle with a grenade launcher underneath it, and then it tells you damages, things like that. JCheck says, getting chromed or augmenting your body with cybernetics is often an aesthetic choice in other cyberpunk fiction. It seems like you need to survive environment in Cyborg. Yes, and there are cybernetic modifications, but they all have th- there's always a side effect. There's nothing free. Like you're not just going to get a cyber arm and be done with it. It's more like in this game, if you are cybered out, there's a good chance your PC is on its way out of the world, right? You're only getting cybernetics because you're trying to survive to the next mission, and it's not by choice. Or let me take that back. It's by choice, but usually by desperate choice, right? And of course, we have the equipment section, spray painted on the page, equipment, and then pretty normal fonts and such, except the background is blue, so it's a little bit of a blueprinty like look, and then bam, splatterpunk again, and then weapons for sale. Turn it sideways. You got to just even read that, and then it gives you damages, types of weaponry, single-use booster mods for like drugs and ammo. I mean, drugs and things for. Sorry, this is for ammunition, but you'll see single-use objects later on in this game. Oh, the drug section, because you got to have drugs, right? Mm-mm-mm. And even reading drugs, the cost after the slash is for weaker recreational drugs. Like it's like dripping down off the page. Aliup says, "Well, you need to somehow pay off that new hardware." Yeah, this this isn't a clean um orbital, like pristine version of Cyberpunk. This is a you're desperate to survive. So, for example, in most games, you'll roll dice, especially in the beginning phases of a game. You'll roll dice, like for example, in Mech in this one, you'll have like gold pieces. Beginning characters, you've got your equipment, maybe some weaponry, some armor, maybe uh, write down some details for an item of magic or something, and then you start out with gold. In this one, you start out with debt. It's not a good thing. You're going to start out with debt. So here we have apps. This is gaming material, and these are apps for hackers. And it's kind of cool that they use like a detailed breakout artwork of some kind of maybe a kind of digital mainframe or something. And then all of these are apps that you can use to hack. And then backlashes for failing to hack. You got to have some backlashes, like your eyes start bleeding. These are strange nano powers that you could acquire accidentally or maybe on purpose or through adventuring and such. And then infestations. There's lots of new diseases, insectoid creatures, kind of mixed with nanotech and that kind of such. So yeah, yeah. And then if you can figure this out, these are glitch, glitch, glitch. uh, hit points on one side. In the Mork Borg original game, they had a photograph of a heart. This one is an artificial heart, and it talks about calculating your hit points, going to 0 hit points, negative hit points, and spells all that out. And emergency body modifications, because you're going to have to do that there, alley oops. Going to have to do that. Combat section. Mm-mm-mm. And it just goes on and on. It talks about optional combat mods like cover, aiming, range. Hits always hurt. Hits always deal a minimum of 1 damage, regardless of armor reduction or other negative damage modifiers, unless that would bring a character down to 0 hit points. And then it talks about suppressive fire, optional combat maneuvers. And again, tons of layout, tons of artwork, and then minimalist information. And then of course up here it gives you a little hint. Start over. go back to go back to the beginning of the book and start this all over again. Start to reread it. Talks about time, resting, first impressions, and morale for NPCs. It's crazy. Foes show no mercy, they won't. And then these are uh, people you're going to go up against. One of the limitations in cyberpunk not just science fiction, but like near future gaming is sometimes they don't have enough variation in their adversaries because in for example in cyberpunk 2020 for the most part you're going to go up against other cybernetic individuals, and it's really difficult sometimes to make variations. Shadowrun, of course, Shadowrun has magic and all of the classic things in fantasy that you can throw in there. And then when you get into far sci-fi, going in, interstellar, intergalactic, you have aliens and things. So this one tries to break that mold a little bit. So of course you're going to have goons and guards, gang members, raging menaces, corporate assassins, special forces, and things like that, and some details on them. Again, a lot of art, a lot of layout, but you're going to get like minimal words. And again, bright. I mean, it's like this dark red, and then you get black on top of it, and you're not seeing what I'm seeing. Online while I'm broadcasting this to you, it's actually brighter than what I'm taking a look at, even with these 3 lights. So, mm-mm-mm. Various types of drones. Enhanced beasts. Shadowrun does have riggers and drone operators, but in a lot of near future sci-fi, you don't often see too many drones, especially for those that are like uh, PC focused. But yeah, they have drones in here, enhanced beasts, side droids. Um, Essentially, I mean, anything from the Terminators, the T-2000s, all the way up to androids that have downloaded themselves into these machine bodies, or maybe covered in flesh or something like that. Got to have that. I think this is nano. I can't read this next word. F- PHRE. I think that's an EA. Nano freaks. Sheesh. I figured it out. I got it. I'm okay. So anyway, these are a little more alienish. White tails, blight husk, headhunter, the bloated, which is pretty nasty because I think it's one or more human bodies that have exploded. The bloated, ready to burst. My stomach hurts. Get away from them. Combat vehicles. Of course, you have to have giant mechs. I can't. I don't even know what that says. It does this say mech? MEC. Yeah, yeah. It says mech. Yeah. M, one, two, three. E, C, and then the K. But the K back of the K, like yeah, it's mech. Yeah, thanks there, J Jax. Ugh. This old man and these old eyes. Woo. Ghosts. And of course, we have data. And under data is like if you want to play this game, maybe you're just uncertain how to frame what the PCs see and feel and hear and all that kind of stuff. So from the data version on, you're going to get a ton of random tables, mission tables, NPC features, and all that kind of stuff. Random styles, features, roles, obsessions, quirks, NPC table once, right? I mean tables, and these are once for those NPCs. You're going to get a mission generator. The mission generator, yeah, thanks, Mike. Yeah, it said freaks. The mission generator is actually pretty good in terms of how broad it is. So for the mission generators, we do have a contact, a type of contact from maybe a former enemy, a masked stranger or street kid. We have a patron who is paying for this mission. There's the reward of who promises what, like what, like what are you going to get out of it? And again, like Mike brought out, this is a page of graphics, but there's no words on it. It's just more flavor. Then there's the job, and it says if they, and then there's a little bit of a thing that happens, like if they steal, threaten, kidnap, or fight for, or win over, right? And it goes on, the job and the target. Then you have maybe you get a server or a hacker, maybe records of personal communications, a lover, a piece of jewelry, a neo aristocrat, something like that. That might be the target. And then you have a location generator, and this location generator is like, you know, the target can be found in where, like a shopping mall or street corner, food stalls, luxury residence, wherever. And then it's somewhere, and it tells you like, is it central? Is it in the slums, the hills, the in betweens, the ports? What kind of security is um, going to be for the mission, such as Virid Vipers, a death cult, Vindicator, side droid and handler, maybe off duty cops, cyber slashers. What kind of complication is going to happen on the mission? But something complicates the job. Maybe nothing. Maybe it's a trap. Maybe the contact or target is arrested. and location features. So you have a distinctive feature table, a hidden feature table, an additional danger table. Then you have a corporate generator, so you can come up with some cool names, the main industry, and then the latest controversy. This looks like a paragraph, but it's actually a please roll on this D tables thing. So they took it out of the tabling and just made it a paragraph, make it look a little bit more corporate. But you can roll a d20 and read what's on here. I don't even know if you could. There we go. Latest controversy. And then you have like a cult generator. There are like nihilistic cults that are like a combination of like gangs and people desperate to find something, some other way other than money to exist in this world. And they so they're the idea of having these medieval styled cults in a cyber high tech world is a thing, just like to in our day, modern day people flock towards others who have the answers to life and liberty, and these cults take away both. um, and of course down here city D100 events, and again artwork, black and white, kind of gives you a look at the city, or is this a mall or something? But this is only a little bit of tabling here, and then it just goes on and on. The table D100 section, things happening in the city. Everything's for, I think it's going to say Psy. D20 net events. So for your hackers out there, they even bothered to put a mat. Now, out of all that shininess, and there's shininess on this page, when you flip the page, there's just a small X and it says failed to load content. And this is matte colored. So if you, well, it's a little difficult to show you, but yeah, matte colored page. And then there's an introductory Cy-Borg heist. And the rest of this, matte colored, pretty simple layout. The fonts don't go crazy. Their adventure layout is actually pretty interesting. It's very good, to be honest with you. Even the original Mork Borg, those adventures are laid out extremely well. Random encounters, NPCs for this adventure, and I've seen this happen in other games, and they do it here, where they will take a piece of the map that the player characters will be on, somehow highlight or darken a piece of it to let you know that what you're reading and where you are at on the map with what you're reading. So as I flip the page, you'll see that yeah, you can tell that you have this main section that's darkened, but if you flip the page over, it gives you information for the rooms, same map, but the darkened rooms over in the corner. And then in the other page, even though it's literally a 2-page spread, back over here, and then it gives you information, die rolls, details, very short and sweet, and tells you what it is on the map. And then we go to the second floor, and again, darkened region tells you which areas are being detailed. Again, darkened regions, details, and something pretty nasty. And then down into the basement. You got to have a basement. You got to be able to sneak through a basement. And so here we have some details about some of the corporations. You got to go up against the corporations. Of course, I would suggest being able to copy a lot of these logos, use them, hand them out to your players, give them something to be scared of or try to attain. And then we have our index, and again the rules in the back of the book. And you bringing up the Mork Borg game and doing a comparison, you can see This is the original Mork Borg, the rules, features, details that you need. Same thing for bam, Cy-Borg. Abilities, tests, apps, malfunctions, combat, injury, and death. Some glitches down here. So I'll definitely go back through this to any page that you want. But if you're someone who really wants to get into cyberpunk, or you feel like there hasn't really been anything original in the cyberpunk genre, the idea of like low life PCs trying to fight against the man in a near future kind of setting, I definitely would suggest Cyborg. Again, very lethal game. A lot more. It comes across as a lot more glitchy, dirty, um, infestation, desperation in terms of against other types of cyberpunk type settings. Like for example, in Shadowrun. And Shadowrun, you may player characters may pet could actually play corporate styled characters. This really doesn't lend itself to that. You may also delve into the wilderness in Shadowrun and or hobnob with um, the rich and famous and people in the proverbial ivory towers. This really isn't for those kind of gamers. This is running through dark alleys, across rooftops, through sewers, um, and living on the outskirts of irradiated places, um, trash dumps, uh, vacant warehouses, fighting against the man with using like drones and robots to quell riots and things of that nature. So you're really expected to play at least someone who's proactive, who's fighting against the system. Maybe you're reactive because the system's been been shutting you down, but to ascend to richness and to ascend to the top, I don't know. You're really not going to see it. Chances are, if a PC Mike says, "Dude, I'm jazzed to play a cyberpunk setting now." Yeah, if you, I get the impression if you've ever seen the television Netflix television show Black Mirror, I think Black Mirror is like this, that there is a gift of the magi type of catch 22ism that if your PC really does ascend, chances are they're going to end up ascending to the decadence of which they tried to escape, right? Um, I will say that there is a little bit of an inside joke in this book as well that I don't know if you guys have seen it, but I will point it out here that you will see um, glitched out font work where you cannot read it. And I think the inside joke is that because sometimes you'll see it begin with the letter Y, and maybe that's because they call the city CY, like Psy. But I think it has a relationship to the original Mork Borg, because there's one of the evil predictive gods has a their name begins with the letter Y, and I think you're supposed to get the idea that this is the future version. You are role playing in the near future version of this game. That there's a tangential relationship, but so yeah, kind of funny. But yeah, I'm not sure. Now you guys tell me this. Okay, so there is the letter G and a zero. I They don't explain how this is pronounced. And what I mean by that is it G0? Is it G aught? I it's spread throughout this book. And it's just G0, like gravity zero or something. And it's a location in this setting, but it just I don't know if you're supposed to pronounce it a way. Is it just an acronym? It just says this is where the rock fell, where the bombs dropped. A post apocalyptic quagmire kept in quarantine by a massive wall, monitored by auto turns and armed drones. Entering the sector without proper protection is still a death sentence if the murderous Nano freaks, pockets of nerve gas, or radioactive space dust don't kill you, then whatever the hell makes that noise at night will. Most of the area is waterlogged, scrap, and warped steel, but some of the oldest medieval parts of size still stand. Scrapheads looking for antique junk, smugglers running goods, cultists seeking their profane truth, and scientists looking for a way to profiteer from the fallout are the only beings you'll meet here. The only humans, that is. And so I'm not sure. I don't I don't know. Mike says, I've played Cyberpunk 2022, okay, Shadowrun, Twilight 2000. Never played Twilight 2000, but I I was with a gaming group where there was a guy who was super proponent of it and played it with other people. I never got to play it. And Gamma World, apocalyptic settings are my jam. Yeah. Yeah. Twilight 2000, haven't done that in a while. And again, the very beginnings of this book talks about the different locations. And let's be honest, when you're talking about like, um, I don't know, is this post-apocalyptic? This is more like the apocalypse rather than post-apocalyptic. But I mean, heck, even the map at the bottom of the map, it's called the battlefield, right? Try Try go? Yeah, I don't know. So anyway, the other thing, as far as this goes, comes across as OSR, is that it gives you just enough information to shape it the way you want. So a lot of this, why you see this book with actually very little word count, is because they're trying to make enough space for you to turn this into the setting that you want. So the central business, enterprise region is, it's the business center. And in this setting you can actually see some boats with some canals and such. And I bet that's a little bit of a throwback to the original makers of the game, the Stockholm Cartel, which they may have a lot of in their native country. They may have a lot of canals and things like that. So it says try go. G0 might be a code for this is where X happened. It's a way of showing importance. Yeah, I guess. I don't- they don't explain it, and you know what? Maybe they. I, I am absolutely certain they did that on purpose so that you can make up your own mythology as to what it stands for. Maybe the slang that's used. Maybe it's used as a like um uh, uh both a form of a put down, like, or you're from that, you're like a G0 dude, you're a go, man, get out of here, you need to go, right, or something. Or it could be a form of like appreciation. Hey, where are you from? I'm from the go art, the G art, man. You're like, oh, you're from that art, okay. You got the slums, of course. You've got places, you got to have slums. You have to have, nasty industrial parks that, for the PCs to sabotage or whatnot. You got to have ports where, ill-gotten goods come in. You have to have the irradiated location. It says it's bombed, it's irradiated. That's where the rocks fell. There is a large part of an aquatic section in this, which is sometimes ignored a little bit in Cyberpunk. But you could have like deep. I'm thinking of, oh yeah, Ground Zero. Thank you. Oh, thank you so much. My brain just did not go there. It's Ground Zero. All right. All right. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. Yes, Ground Zero. And they never tell you what it says. It doesn't say, "Oh, this is great." Well, let's see, drops, but no, no, I never read Ground Zero. Thank you so much. It was bothering me. Um, okay, lots of aquatic things. Of course, you have to have missions underwater. People living there. There could be havens and other things underwater as well. Um, you got to have the hills. Access denied. Of course, access denied for you. I love the imagery here because you've got someone, of course, very rich with like some kind of genetically modified pet, and then if you take a look at this image, you could see that they superimpose these like 50 cal Gatling gun turrets on the top with these gilded cages and stuff, gilded fencing and everything. I love it. I absolutely love it. Um, let's pretend this never happened. The in betweens. Yeah, let's pretend none of this happened. Mm-mm-mm. The in betweens, the salary folk, the cubicle zombie, the cogs in a machine are stored. Let's see if we could show this to bring this up here. Come on, camera. There we go. The salary folk, the cubicle zombies, the cogs in the machine are stored, and you see how it's striped out. Live here in endless rows of bland tenement slabs, overcast by an oppressive vista of faceless concrete brutalism, advertised to at every waking moment. And it's just images of gray buildings and towers, classic office cubicles and things like that. And then beyond beyond the CY, factory farms, Nega City devours all it sees, things like that. And then it gives you a description of the net and how horrible it is. That's it. So anyway, guys, wanted to give you a page through of this book. Oops, there we go. Pull the ribbon back of this book, Cy-Borg. Again, it is from Stockholm Cartel. It is a Mork Borg aside game. They even called itself the Mork Borg Hacked. There are other Merk Borg uh, books and supplements out there from themselves, from themselves and others. There's Pirate Borg. I haven't ordered Pirate Borg. There's one called. It's based on the movie Castaway. That's out there, and there's a ton of other people. I think they actually had it open where they wanted to have people submit versions of hacks of Mork Borg, but they had to shut it down because they were getting too many submissions. But if you take a look at their website, it's filled with a ton of materials and things that they have. I mean, take a look at this. This is just their paperback layout, and it's matte on the side with this glossiness. Like, why the hell did they do that? I love it so much. Um, and it literally starts out. You open up a page in this, it gives you who did it, what's in there, and then boom, it just gives you information. You know, seeds of a cult is actually what this says, and it tells you like you can get a name of a cult. For um, your medieval style, dark medieval setting. So anyway, guys, I really suggest getting it. Yeah, Mike says Cyberpunk has a word for in betweens, the salary man, and I think it's taken off of like a Japanese term, salary or something, and even they switch it over to the salary man. It's the person that goes to the cubicle, that looks and sounds like everybody else, wears their suit, works 16-hour days. Mike's like, okay, time to research or write a Cyber 5e. Yeah, write a Cyber 5e setting. There's ultra modern out there already, but I'm not sure I need it. There is, I am, I have to admit that be, there is a 5e setting. It's called, mm, it's Cyberpunk mixed with um, outer world demonic nature. I can't remember the name of it. Deadman says Mork Borg in Norwegian translates to Mother City. Are you sure? I thought it was Dark Fort. I thought it was Dark Fort. Uh, ooh, um, yeah. Let me see if this will. Let's see if Mork Borg is Swedish for Dark Fort and is pronounced Merk Borg. So even they, at least maybe for us, they've kind of put it down to Mork Borg, and that's from their own game. So third printing, yeah, yeah. And I think there is a, oh, did they print it in? Is it this book? Um, no, is it in Heretic? It's not it. There's the original Dark Fort. There's the original Dark Fort game it was based off, and it's like 2 pages long. Let's see if I can find it very quickly. I don't think I'll be able to find it very quick. No. Shit. All right. Can't find it. But yeah. There's an original Dark Fort like 2 pager um solo adventure of a gaming thing that I think this may have grown out of, but it doesn't matter. It's cool. And it's become a life of its own. Mork Borg, despite the mispronunciation, is its own thing now. So I think even they understand. It's like, no, do we really care? I'm not Norwegian. I've got the lazy tongue, American lazy tongue. So from the USA, so it doesn't matter. We love the game. I love the layout. I love the fact that they broke th- these are table games. Like these are coffee table games. Definitely worth it. They are small in size. I'm going to bring up another role playing game book. So this is my level up game book, and both books fit underneath it. So they are definitely small. These are small pocket sized books. I like these uh, zine sized games. They're very easy to flip through. You can literally stick them in a pretty large pocket in a jacket. Stick them down inside of a next to a laptop computer case or something like that if you want to carry it with you. And lastly, I'm going to take you to their website. I didn't intend on doing this before I get out of here, but I will. Mork Borg. There we go. I'll take you to the website. Um, mm, mm. Sorry, this isn't as easy to share. No, I want it to share a Chrome tab. There you go. Share and share alike. I wish this was just a one-click system, but it isn't. And let's see. Let's go right here. So we're on their website, and yes, it does seem like a beating heart. To the left, you can buy this game. To the right, give me content. And to the bottom, you have third party licenses for Mork Borg and Cy-Borg. I'm going to go to the licenses first because we're creators. So if you go to the Mork Borg license, it takes you down, it shuffles you down and it gives you the how you can use this and you can create your own game. Love the community, talks about what kind of content you can use. It even gives you branding. So you can download the compatible with Mork Borg um, branding for your own creation. It tells you what you cannot use, of course. It tells you what materials you can use inside of the book, which are very few things. And then it gives you some legal information. Please, if you intend on making anything for Mork Borg, please follow the legalese. And also, they want you to include this text in your book. Very simple, very easy. Just copy and paste it. And then it says, remember, it even gives you a suggestion. Remember, make it dark, depressing, weird, and cruel, but let everyone partake in the suffering. Be sure to avoid sexist, racist, homophobic, and transphobic tropes and themes in your content. There's plenty of that crap in the real world already. The world of Mork Borg doesn't need it because it's pretty horrible. And they ride a fine line. I mean, there's some problematic imagery and text in the books already that that doesn't even come close to the stuff that they tell you not to put in there. There's plenty of other decadent things you can have in there. If you're going to have cannibals, you don't need to make it racist cannibals. Being a cannibal is good enough, right? That kind of thing. I think in even the original Mork Borg, um, they have like thieves and all that kind of stuff. And here's the Cy-Borg third party license as well. Um, and here you can click this to download the content assets, to download like the symbols and things like that. Tells you what you for branding, what you cannot use from Free League or Cy-Borg or Stockholm Cartel, but it does give you the compatibility logos and you can download those. And boom, pretty cool. Pretty cool. Let's go back to the top. Boom, boom, boom. I'm paging up through um, material you can download. So, of course, they've got merch, and all this is downloadable PDFs, English and Swedish. It's pretty cool. Lots of material. Lots of material. Oh, right here, Mork Borg Bare Bones Edition, free plain text version, no art, no layout, one font, and you can download the entire game for free. Character sheets, rules references that you can download, printer friendly. You don't want to use all that yellow trying to print these rules out. So you can do the English or Swedish standard printer friendly version, the ultra minimal. And I am paging slowly because this is kind of how it looks when it shows you what the game is about. The original Mork Borg. A doom metal album of a game, a spiked flail to the face, light on rules, heavy everything else. So that's Mork Borg, or at least the Mork Borg and that kind of stuff. You can also, let's see, if you go to buy the game and its various iterations, we've got Cy-Borg here, uh, Mork Borg, Art Punk, blah blah blah, screens, and those are available. There's a lot of people um, that are devotees of this system. Let's see, did it take you anywhere? Oh, it didn't take you out of the shit. Am I showing you something? Oh, it didn't. All right, there we go. Dead Man says also in Danish, Morkborg translate to damn city. That's actually kind of cool. Oh, that's actually kind of cool. Mother City, Damn City, Dark Fort, Happy Asides. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for being part of the show. It is Friday, so we'll get back to doing things again Monday. I'm trying to there's I don't know how to describe it, but anyway, we'll come up with a theme for going from Monday through Friday. I wanted to kind of go back a little bit to an OSR ish kind of thing, but there's something else that I wanted to. I haven't formulated it in my head, but come Monday morning, even if I don't formulate it, maybe we'll formulate it together. But you get the point. I've always got a thousand ideas swarming around in my head. Oh, ooh, 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 ooh. Let's go to the I want to go to Kickstarter. Sorry, I got to show it off. So let's go to Kickstarter and let's search for. Here we go. Cool name. Who's here? For those who don't know, I'm part of the creative team for this Kickstarter. I don't know why I haven't been pushing this on my own channel. It's got 14 hours to go, raised 24, almost $25,000, and stretch goal because he passed the 23K part for for the Kickstarter for Cool Name goes here. We've reached the new rules that make exploration and discovery a game all its own. New challenges, fantastic rewards, and tools that make exploring every bit as exciting as combat. This is one of the main reasons why I was brought on as a consultant and writer for this. And yeah, I can't wait. We've also hit to classic fantasy monsters that are going to be included in Cool Name. This is going to be rewritten from the ground up. It won't be fifth edition. It's not going to be a fifth edition clone at all. So yeah, and here I go as there's DBJ, but I'm glad to be in the shadow of a lot of these other people. Um, Casey Stevens, Kenneth Haidt, Robin D. Laws and stuff. Um, I all these, yeah. Monica Marlowe, I know her, but I don't know from where. But Stephen S. Long. So yeah, guys, I can't wait. Am I not sharing that? What the heck happened? Come on. There we go. Wow. Huh. There we go. Mm-mm-mm. I have not, J-Jax. J-Jax says, have I ever done a deep dive on RPGs with deep settings such as RuneQuest or Legend of Five Rings? I have not. And one of the reasons why I haven't is because it is a deep dive, right? Like, I don't know if an hour is really going to do it. Although some of these settings are actually quite sweet. So I don't know. But yeah, this project has only got 14 hours to go. Cool name goes here. We want to hit 25,000. I'm part of the creative team. I'm so happy that we reached the 23K to get into the expanded exploration. Yeah, you did it. You just unlocked expanded rules for exploration. These rules make the process of discovery and the act of exploring into a cool adventure all its own. This also includes cool options for travel events, navigation, and camp encounters, all of which make the process of getting to the adventure site just as fun as the core adventure itself. I also plan on, hopefully it will be included, a way to make the travel to an actual adventure in and of itself, right? Like adventure design, but designing an adventure to do that. And there I go. Yay! Woohoo! Ends in 14 hours. I love it. I love it. I love it. So anyway, I had to had had to self promote. So cool, cool, cool. Thanks there, J Jax. I'll check it out on Kickstarter. Cool. Thank you so much. All right, guys. We're at the end here. Got to get out of here. Got to get out of this place. Everybody have a great day. I will see thee bright and early Monday morning. Well, it may not be Monday morning for you, but it sure will be for me. Broadcasts daily 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time here at RPG with DBJ. Guys, have a great weekend. I'll see you later. Peace.